Good morning, UBS. Welcome to another Monday morning, a UBS Live, and welcome to a lot of new members that have joined over the past week. Thank you guys for reaching out and connecting, as well as obviously everyone else that is keeping this group interactive and full of value. So I'm super excited about July being our sales month. Last week, we just came off hosting a sales mastery masterclass in Doncaster here in Melbourne with Francesca Moy, and that was an amazing couple of days we had with 60 other small business owners, and that prompted me to come up with this particular topic. You obviously had Francesca and myself talking the pool selling formula last week. Then we had Phil the week before, who brought things around mindset and fear around selling. Before that, I talked about sales. Can't even remember 4 weeks ago. But today, planning for a sales boom is the topic. Why did I think about that? Because that's what I have been doing for the last few days. Because guess what? The ultimate 2018 Success Planners, well, I've called them Ultimate Business 2018, have arrived, and with that, I have actually filled out all of my 2018 plan. Pretty much left it 80% full and 20% with some flexibility, and discussing things on how, well, I thought, how do I reverse engineer this for you guys so that I can teach you best to plan for a sales boom, because there are parts of the year we pretty much do nothing, like we don't do too many sales, and then there's times of the year that it's like an intense surge, like a snowball effect, and all of that comes from planning. Now, there are two different areas you might be in. You might be working one-on-one with people, whereby you might be getting a more sort of consistent stream of sales, or you might be in the one-to-many scenario where you execute a lot of events over a specific period of time, and then you have a quiet period where you catch up after them, and then you go again. So this will relate, well, it relates to both of those areas. Hey Amanda, good morning. It relates to both of those areas because in order for you to attract people who will become your clients, you need to plan for it. What kind of activities will you put out there to make it, to have the outcome of obviously making sales and having paying clients. So with, as I'm introducing this call, of course, we're going to start on the dot at 9 o'clock to be respectful of everyone else who comes on. Good morning, Violet. So if you guys want to ask me questions or post comments, please do so as we're going through this call. I'd love to, answer any specifics. And I'll kind of take it, from the big picture and try to chunk it right down for you guys so that you can best do it for yourself. And also one thing before we begin, I always do every year, and I start thinking about halfway through the year, what is going to be my theme for the year? What is going to be my one sole focus? Sometimes it can be fun, sometimes it can be family related, and other times it's business related. There was one year where my sole focus was how can I live my day job, achieving that. Then one year it was about Stuart leaving his day job. Another year was about us, upsizing and finding this home we live in now. Last year was all about running 100 events, like speaking at 100 events, and I did 101. This year was all about USA, okay? So USA, the first international tour of Ultimate 48-Hour Author. So we've been sitting and thinking and talking about, what is going to be the theme for next year, the one sole focus that we really want to make success. And every time we have focused on that one theme, one big chunky goal, like every action and every activity, is kind of like, okay, how are we going in that area? Of course, our businesses have a lot of key performance indicators, but there has to be just one thing that perhaps you can pick that you can do. And of course, and I tend not to, I do set monetary goals, like what I'd like to achieve in terms of finances, But I also know that if my big goal, my big theme comes true, all of that will take care of itself. So doing 100 events in a year, guaranteed I was going to produce a certain result financially. Hey, she loves planning using your ultimate planner. I just did a quick vlog about planning and of course had your planner to show. Yeah, that's what I was doing just now, Amanda. Can you believe the 2018 are out? And I always get them out. Actually, I used to say, you guys, well, let's officially start. It's just clicked over 9 o'clock. I used to say, you know, you need to plan for your following year, you know, around September, October, the year before. But the more I kind of go through this journey of business and of course having a lot of travel on my plate and needing to pre-plan and start promoting and organizing things for what's going to happen in the business, I'm now kind of saying around July, and that's why the planners every year generally will be released around July, so that people can plan out what's going to happen, because I intensely plan for the first 6 months, for the first 6 months of the year right now, and it's the second 6 months of 2018 is a little bit more loose, whereby I allow 25% you know, of flexibility of extra things I might want to do, or opportunities that might come up. And if I absolutely chock-a-block my time, it's not going to work really well. So as I said before, choose to have a theme for the year. Do you want to speak at a particular number of events? Do you want to attract a certain amount of clients? I have avoided, every time I have been setting like financial like goals, it hasn't been as I don't know, rewarding or even like achievable. It's like almost like you're just focused on this financial number, and I actually stopped doing it a while ago. That's why I say to you guys, like, you know, set the goals, like, you know, like speaking at 100 events, that's kind of cool. That's like it feels like a sense of achievement, you know, of something that you've really pushed yourself to do. You know, the USA tour, you know, going out there, it wasn't about how much money am I going to make in the US. I just wanted to go there, have fully booked events and run a retreat there, which I achieved. The money took care of itself. And I'm not going to reveal my, I actually have got the 2018 big theme goal, but I'm not going to reveal it now because we normally do that at our New Year's well, we do this webinar between Christmas and New Year's around the 28th of December, where we tell you guys what happened this year and what we're planning to do next year. And I like this new goal and this new theme that's going to be for 2018. But irregardless, say you did want to, you still have to set the financial goal. You still have to, you know, have some figure in mind. It would be great to achieve that, work backwards from it, and then set the plan into place in terms of what is going to be. But also you can formulate that around like, well, how much is, you know, how many clients do I need to achieve this particular goal? And breaking it right down. And what I have in the planner, I'm just going to find the page for you guys and show you. Here it is. So what I have in the planner is the income stream goals for 2018, which allows for 7 different income streams that potentially your business is generating. So for those, I know a lot of you guys are coaches, trainers, consultants, speakers, and service-based business owners. So generally, what's an income stream? Well, one-on-one mentoring is income stream. Events and workshops are an income stream. If you have any products, that would be an income stream. If you do any paid speaking, that would be a different income stream. If you do have any online courses, that would be a different income stream. So generally, like, you know, people would have somewhere between, you know, 2 and 7, I would say, no more than that, because otherwise, like, you'd be promoting 100 million different things in the marketplace, and people kind of won't know what you stand for. And then in this particular table of I say, okay, well, pick your how many. I just said that, Amy. Yeah, see, I knew you guys were gonna ask me that question. So yeah, so somewhere between 3 and 7, I would say, no more than 7. Generally 3 to 5 is probably the best one. And then you go and you work backwards. You go and you work backwards from it. So you go, okay, well, if I one-on-one, you know, if I want to generate $50,000 from it, what's my average one-on-one client, bring in? And how many do I need to generate that $50,000 for the year? Then if it's workshop, you want to do 30,000, then you divide that and you work backwards from it, and then you see how many clients in total. And you might choose to go, okay, well, I'm just going to focus on finding 100 clients this year, because that's going to equate that amount of dollars and all that sort of stuff. So I would suggest focus, like, certainly do the number crunching to see how many clients you get, but then just leave it alone. You don't need to look at it every 5 seconds. Just leave it alone and focus on, you know, the opportunities that you need to create to find those clients. Hi, Kitty. So what are the opportunities you need to create? What are the things that you need to do? Do you need to go out networking? Do you need to look for 10, 20, 30 speaking opportunities throughout that particular year? Do you need to set your own workshops and events? Now, in the space that I operate in, and a lot of you guys operate in, running events is the fastest way to grow your list of clients. And when I'm talking about planning for a sales boom, what I'm saying is like, okay, well, are you going to do a number of events? Are you going to do a tour in a few different cities at a particular time of the year, and you just put your full effort and focus to fill those rooms in those particular cities, whether that'll be through paid advertising, through all the strategies that Francesca and I share in the Bums on Seats book. I mean, we started doing national tours without doing any paid advertising. Actually, I was probably doing it for a good 12 months before I actually engaged a Facebook person to then get more Bums on Seats continuously over and over. So set those things in your planner and decide, am I going to do 1 tour, 2 tours? Because usually when you do those tours is where the sales boom happens. Because everything's a numbers game. The more and more and more that I go through year after year, I learn to understand I learn and understand my numbers even more. I know how many people will turn up to my event. Of that percentage, how many are likely to convert into my next step, whatever that is. And therefore, I can predict what goal I can set for that particular tour that is realistic, and actually what's a great outcome, what's an average one, and what's below average. But if you look at it over a span of a year, if you say run 10 or 20 events and you and then, you know, look at how many people in the rooms, how many converted, all of that sort of stuff, you will start to see a really clear picture of what your future would look like and what effort you would need to put in. So every time you plan, to do something, because the key is to get in front of as many people as possible. That's how you create sales booms. And to create, to do that, what are the opportunities to get, okay, let's brainstorm this together. What are the opportunities for you to get in front of as many people as possible? What can you do to do that? What are the opportunities you need to look for? Okay, so post them up. I'll put some up. I'll start to speak out on some, but there is actually probably a good 5 to 10 we can think about just off the top of our heads very, very quickly. So we've already spoken about running your own event. Okay, speaking at somebody else's event is another one. Like, whereby you might be a presenter. There's speaking like at a networking event, and then there's the speaking at somewhere where someone has a warm audience already, and you're in there, presented as, the expert who adds value to that particular room because you're not in competition with that person. Okay, webinars. Running webinars will get you in front of people, because ultimately we need to get in front of lots of people to get lots of no's in order to get to those yeses. And the more opportunities we create to be in front of people, the more we're gonna be likely to walk out with a client and the opportunity to help more people. Because if we're hiding away behind our computer or trying to do everything digitally, yeah, great, but you have to be on there so much and so frequently. I mean, I know people who do well digitally are just absolutely hammering out content, and it's probably 4 or 5 times more intense than what you would do, say, if you're offline. Amy says, podcasting, I'm amazed at the audience I've built in 4 weeks. Absolutely, Amy. Podcasting is another way to get in front of thousands of people. And you've been doing your own podcast, and I have been on a lot of podcasts. So I like to call it, I've been on the podcast circuit. Yeah, what else? What else is there? Expos. You could have a table, trade table at an expo, or sponsor an event, in some sort. Of course, sponsorships don't have to be mega huge ones. They can be little ones as well, where you are supporting the event. You might be paying for the venue or something along those lines, where you can be in front of more people and then get those people's details. So it's the sales boom is in the numbers of people that you can be in front of, and how can you generate those opportunities. Now, one thing I'm going to pre-warn you guys on is don't scatter yourself throughout the whole year. When I look at my plan for 2018 that we did, and by the way, so it's very overwhelming when you do this, when you sit down to do it, because you go, oh my God, I've got so much work to do, right? So this is like what my 2018 looks like. So there's, and the second half. Now, what I know and what I schedule for is, yes, there is intense periods here, like for a couple of months, but then there's like kind of a long break, and then there's intense periods later on. Now, the trick is not to freak out when you do have the quieter times, because generally, if you're not in front of people, you're generally not going to be able to, you're not going to convert sales. And I can tell, like the minute, I've been quieter for a few weeks, generally things stay quiet. As I ramp it up for the next period, it all starts. People come from left, right, and center. You know what they say, energy, motion creates emotion, and lots of people, like, when you see a busy restaurant and then everyone goes there and more people get attracted. That's the same is with our own energy. When we're fairly quiet, people tend to leave us alone, and it's like, okay, she's having a quiet time, or it's just that energy that creates. You have to decide, okay, I'm ready to go for another boost and intense period, and that's how it should be. And in those intense periods, generally we do 2 big national tours, and in those 2 national tours we do 80% of our sales for the year. 80% of the sales then, and 20% in all other times. So not to get too tired doing what you do, it's important to cluster activities. Cluster, what is it, your promotional period, your on the road period, and then separate, have the quiet time where you can actually regroup and set up some new systems and some new processes of how things will progress moving forward, because it's important to continue evolving and fine-tuning and getting better and faster at what you do. We sat down last night with Stuart and we go, okay, we're doing pretty well, and we're like, we're very organized and all that, but I think we can take it up another notch, So I love the idea of clustering, probably helps with efficiency too. Yes, and also another thing, you guys, is it's important the day before the next day, like last night, I sat down and said, these are the 5 or 6 things I want to achieve tomorrow. So you would know in the planners at the those of you that use them, right? You would know that the very bottom has a top 6 list, and what I do is I fill that out for the next day, because if you sit down at your computer and you're kind of like, okay, well, what should I do today? You know what? You're probably going to waste 4 hours on social media because you're just, fluffing around. So I've already got my 5 or 6 tasks that I need to get through, and I'll just focus on doing those. And you know what? Actually, I get them done so much faster, and I go, oh, well, what else can I do? Now it's like, in overtime and doing extra things. How can I make my business even more streamlined? If I've got spare time, maybe I will, create a new structure, something to make my clients' life easier, vice versa, make my life easier, and utilize, the people that are around me the best way possible as well. So they're the kind of things, when you're in the quiet period, you refine, because when it's intense, you want those systems to be able to support you, and for you to know that you'll get through it and you'll catch up, and actually you'll be able to close off events. So the one thing that I've really loved using lately is a platform called Asana, asana.com, ASANN, and it's actually free, and it's like a project management software that you've got an app for your phone, it's on your desktop and all that sort of stuff, and we've obviously got my VA and Stuart on it, and I can allocate separate tasks, and also all my event pre-logistics and post-logistics are logged in as projects in there. Which means every event is exactly the same, every retreat is exactly the same, every masterclass is exactly the same, because we run 3 or 4 different kinds of events. And the process that we need to go through pre, post, during, or whatever is, there's quite a lot of steps. If you try to hold them up in your brain, there's no way, you'd be so overwhelmed. But like this, everything's in there. My VA knows how to set up each event, and she just goes off ticking off things as we're getting into the event, and then as we have finished it, which means every event that we do is kind of wrapped up within the same day. All the follow-up, all the things that we've promised, all the things that we need to do to make sure that what we've said is going to happen has already happened. So that particular platform has been really amazing to get everything out of your head, especially if you have repetitive tasks like what would happen at an event, a speaking gig, and all that sort of stuff. And also, you don't need to micromanage people who are helping you, which means that when they complete the task they're meant to complete, you will get a notification that they've done it, and therefore you don't have to go, hey, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done whatever? And it works really, really well, and that way everyone's going about their work without needing to ask 10 million times what's been completed and what's yet to be done and all that kind of stuff. So let's just recap a little bit on some people who've been joining us, and and those that obviously have been here. So really, really important to start with the big picture and work backwards. And actually to plan next year from now, because it's important to know what are the things you're going to have in place. And it's overwhelming doing it, but once you get started, you just got to go one day at a time. I just got to do one thing at a time. Oh, another thing that I was going to say, the second thing was get in front of as many people as possible, right? And this, Amy said, podcasting, and then we talked about networking, events, speaking at other people's events, expos, and sponsorships and all that sort of stuff. But right now, live streaming, that's me getting in front of a lot of people. It's not in any paid format, but these live streams that are Monday morning UBS Live and used to be called Coffee Chats have now been going for 3 years. Now, I don't do them every single Monday. I do them 80% of Mondays. Why? Because 20% of the other time I'm on holidays and somewhere remote, and I don't want to do them when I'm away. And sometimes might do a random one when I'm away if I feel like it. But consistently for 3 years, I've been turning up on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Melbourne time, hosting these, and I don't care how many people are here. I don't care if there's 1, I don't care if there's 0, I don't care if there's 15. Well, why do I do it? You kind of wonder. Well, by the end of this, by the time this live stream has been watched over the week and all that, we'll have 400 or 500 views. My VA, after we finish, will extract it from Facebook, download and upload it to my YouTube channel. Woo, more viewers to all my subscribers, right? So by the time this has been done, posted on my blog and all of the different areas where we can spread this awesome content, I have probably had it viewed for over 1,000 times, and in the future it'll probably still get visited time and time again. So it's not just the things that you do in the moment that should be expected to bring you a result. These live streams have brought me results sometimes months or years after people have consistently come and watched them and been a part of. So So just know that whatever seeds that you're planting along the journey of your business, and sometimes you go, oh, why do I do this? It's a waste of time. Or sometimes, you speak at a speaking gigs and you end up, you walk out and kind of nothing happened. But then you get this email 6 or 12 months later going, oh, I saw you at this event. It actually happened to me just on the weekend. Someone said, oh my God, I saw you at this Business in Heels event a year ago, and you've helped a friend of mine write a book, and I'm really interested about what you do. And then I invited her to my half-day workshop, and now she's coming. So that's like a year later. So the important thing is, though, that you're putting actions out there, that you're obviously clustering your tasks so that you're not being overwhelmed by too much work. Sowing seeds, love the idea of sowing seeds. Kitty is also a perfect example of that, because she said to me that she had attended these calls and been in our group, Ultimate Business Support, for 2 years before I noticed her 6 months ago. And it's so many times you think that not a lot of people might be commenting or watching and all that sort of stuff. Trust me, they are. And if you're their energy, and if you're their style, and if you're their flavor, and they love the problem that you solve, and they've got that problem, that there's your match, and it'll happen when it's meant to happen. The point is, how many things are you putting out there daily and weekly, to get noticed and to stay top of mind with people? That's a good reminder that even when we don't close anything at an event, we're still seeding. That's perfect for me right now. Yeah, totally. Because it can be such a letdown. Like, I can tell you guys, for the first 12, even to 18 months, every time I ran a workshop or an event, I don't think I closed not one person, because I didn't have the correct call to action. I was selling into so from a free event or something really low cost, I would try to sell into something that was $5,000-$10,000. At the time, of course, I also didn't have any knowledge and too much, clarity about how to go about selling, and it was just too big a jump. And for how many events I put on and walked away going, oh my God, they said they were so inspired and this was so good and all this sort of stuff, and why didn't anyone buy, right? And it was really, really deflating, because I paid for the venue. I paid for, if I put on catering, it didn't matter. Like, at the time, it was so much money, like, laid out, and so much effort to get people in the room, not to get any conversion, right? But I still kept turning up because I go, I need to keep doing these because, they're good for my profile building as well, and my following, and people who were watching me online, they were being inspired. Well, how do you do that? Even though I was making any sales. But what changed the thing for me, and because originally my intention was to fill up my one-on-one coaching clients, I changed my way of thinking. Rather than selling my one-on-one full-blown packages that went for 3, 6, or 12 months, I decided that I would offer the next step being a couple of really low-cost sessions, so that I would work with the person one-on-one, and then they can decide if they wanted to progress to the bigger packages and to the proper full-on engagement. And when I changed that, 70% of the room started taking up that offer, and then 99.9% of them remained on to continue onto my big packages, and that's how I solved that problem. But it took me good 12 to 18 months turning up, doing events, month after month, and I did not do anything. Like, I would walk away, and Stuart said, "You were so good." Stuart would sometimes come to the event, and he said, "You were so good. They were so engaged and all that." But it's sometimes also not the correct call to action. And this is why you have to go through all that freaking crap to work out, oh my God, what's the thing that people really want from me? What's my unique selling proposition, and how can I? Nowadays, yes, I sell a high-end program from a $49 event, but also I have refined it. I have got the credibility. I've got the results. My clients have results. Like, there's so many, obviously, tick boxes that I can present, and the conversation is totally different. And I still don't skip the qualifying conversation, which is, let's talk first to see if you would qualify before you come into my program. So I'm still not like full blown, not selling from the 49 to the big high end. I'm actually going 49 to, hey, let's have a conversation, see if you qualify. Then we we can talk about the big program and all that. Let me read this comment. Honesty is so refreshing. I find my conversations take quite a few connection points before they book a session. It used to be 1 or 2 connections, but I think I'm onto a cold market, so it's it's taking longer. And that's the thing, Amy, you may have exhausted a lot of your warm network at some point. Maybe it's happening right now, and that will happen too, guys. And this is why you need to plan for sales booms and plan to find a cold audience, like people who have never heard from you. Because of course, while we network and we speak, we make lots of friends and buddies, and they hire us and they work with us, and it seems to be going okay, but then it can start to slow down, which means that, okay, well, we really need to find a cold audience that it's going to that doesn't know us, and then we can warm them up. And sometimes, Amy, it might mean they may not engage immediately, and you might need a few touch points, but it really is the key if you're going to scale up your business to move into, and I say there is a point you have to take the leap into paid advertising, so you're bringing in the cold leads and nurturing those and all that sort of stuff. And sometimes the cold leads may result into a client immediately, and sometimes they might need to get to know you a bit longer. So yeah, and if you at that point, that's an awesome point to be at. It's just the next surge of new people that you will have in your business, and it's things shift and evolve every step of this journey, and things you should focus, and you need to change also what you focus on. And what should you stop focusing on, and what should you start focusing on as your business evolves, and that you look at that every single year. And so I hope this has been valuable this morning, you guys. I kind of just came on without a plan because I was so excited about us finishing our 2018 year, and we always kind of know with Stuart, all right, well, these are the numbers we need to get if we want to get this result. And knowing your conversion rate is so important. So start noting things down. Even if 3 people are coming into a room, or 5 or 7 or whatever, you'll see a pattern, and you'll see that pattern, and then you'll kind of like just know, almost like a psychic, you will know what outcome you're going to have. Because I know how many of you think you sort of, it's a guessing game. Because it was a guess for the first 4 years in my business. It was a guessing game. The last 3, I know exactly what's going to happen, what I'm going to make, and if I want to make more or whatever, what kind of actions and things I need to put in place. And of course, I'm always thinking of other ways. How can I leverage my time more and build up, the business into a bigger business, or do I want to, or don't I want you to? So, as we come to a close, of course, if you do want to get the 2018 planner, which comes in pink and black, right? I only ordered 300 of these this year. It's not my core focus of my business. It is the ultimate small business planner. And I've got 200 pink and 100 black, because lots of women tend to follow me saying that everyone wants pink, and that was actually exactly what happened at the masterclass last week. So I've already sold 50 of these because of that masterclass last week, and some of my USA authors wanted them, so I've been posting stuff over there. If you do want one of these, sooner rather than later is my recommendation of getting them, because the minute I start now my national tour, they're gonna go, they're like just gonna get taken everywhere, and lots of my speaking gigs, people always buy them. So the planner, bit.ly /2018 planner is the link, and I think it's in the pinned post, as well as I had it in a little image of this call today, and I'll post it obviously below this when we get off. One planner is $59.95 express posted anywhere in Australia. And there's post for international postage if you're watching this internationally. And if you get 2, there's a little bit of a discount, like $99 instead of $120 for 2. So have an awesome rest of the week. I'm super excited about all the things I'm going to be setting up this week as August and September, and we move into the national tour. We're going to be going to new cities, Newcastle and Sunshine Coast. I'll be visiting, and I'm super excited to be meeting a lot of people all over Australia again. Cold market, as we talked about, because we're doing a ton of Facebook advertising, and if you're one of those people who's never been to my Half Day Author workshop, then come, because it is an awesome morning. And a super valuable way to find out how you can become an author. So have an amazing rest of the week, guys. Thank you for joining me. Next week is going to be our last sales flavor topic of the month, because it falls on the 31st of July. So that'll wrap up sales month. Then I'll think about a different theme. See, this idea I came up with, like the flavor of what we're going to talk about for the month, only came up as I came home from the US, and I go, oh, that's not too bad. And then we can delve a lot deeper in each of these topics, because half an hour just doesn't do them justice, I don't think. All right, have a great morning, and I will talk to you guys next Monday, same time, same place. Talk soon. Bye.